Hello everyone and welcome back to another Godzilla Battle Line video. It is late in the season for a tier list, but, you know, busy month this month, G-Fest, vacations and all that, so we're getting around to it because, by golly, we don't go a month without one, and we'll squeak one out right at the end and pinch it off at the finale. So, this tier list should be pretty good up until, 2 months from now. If you watch this tier list and it is the next season, I believe it'll be season 39. There are a few adjustments, but at the moment, I don't think they're going to be super impactful. So for the most part, this tier list should still be a solid ground to base everything off of. Now, not everyone is on this tier list. As you can see, there's characters like Batra who are missing, Ghidorah, Gamera, King Ghidorah, Mecha King Ghidorah, and the new Gamera and the new Guiron because they got all either added this season or adjustments, so they are below the D tier. So this is not the final list, but I am not ranking all these characters. This is pretty much a similar setup to last month. There are a few, adjustments here and there. S plus tier, I think, can just be in any order. I don't think this is it. I don't think my S plus or S are in any particular order. I think depending on what you want to play, I think all of these characters in the S plus and S are just generally good. Everything following that is pretty much in an order, I think, from best to worst. So, before we talk about the new units, who I will timestamp, we will talk about what units got buffed this season, and we will go in alphabetical order, starting with Batra Larva and Batra Imago. So both of them got their cost reduced, I believe, by 1. So Batra Larva is 3 and Batra Imago is 4. I believe that is the numbers. Let me go check. I'm fairly certain. I am a little stupid though. I'm looking in the game right now. It is 3 and 4, right? I'm not dumb. Yeah, 3 and 4. Cool. So Batra Larva being a 3, I think is a solid top of the B tier. Not only is it an easy evolution to get, it also gives you an attack boost when it is spawned in. That's pretty solid in my book. Everything else here doesn't really do. I mean, the Jet Jaguar does, but it can't defend itself, so that's why he's, like, pretty low. These guys can't defend themselves. These guys all can. The Bylante gives itself the 80% boost only when it's in water. Batra will give you that damage boost whenever he drops in, so even if your Batra Larva dies and you need to drop him back again, you still get that boost. Now, Batra being brought up, or being brought down, I think takes this to the top of A tier. If not in the top number 1, it's definitely up here in the top, like, 5 of A tier, like, for certain. Batra is one of those characters that has always been impactful, or it was impactful for, like, 2 years. For 2 years straight in this game, Batra was like, you must run Batra. It was one of the only characters that was giving attack boosts. The attack boost is still pretty good. It used to give a 50% damage boost, then it gave a 25, and now I believe it gives a 30%. Yeah, it gives 30. Still pretty good, a 30% damage boost every time it spawns in. It does not have a way to replenish that boost. I think he's wiggled his way back into the top of A tier. Somewhere along these lines, we can argue, where you think he falls. I think it's definitely within these top 5. Because I think the top 5 A tier characters are Batra, Shimo, Thousand Year Dragon, Orga, and Destroya. I mean, you can make arguments for some others, but I think that's really the gist at this time. So that's where Batra's going to go, both the Larva and the Imago. I think they're both great. I've been using them a lot this season, and I see really no downsides, except for the stats are a little low. They're a little squishy. They are year 1 characters fighting a lot of year 2 and 3 units, and they just don't have the stats, but they have the boost, which is pretty good. Next is Ghidorah. Ghidorah got an increase to his attack reach. They brought his reach from 60 or 65 all the way to 85. Yeah, no, it was 60 brought to 85 because it was a 15-point increase, and that 15-point increase puts Ghidorah in the top 10 longest ranged units in the game. But out of the top 10 longest ranged units, you have like Mark-Light Cannon, Super X, Zeton, 3 things that don't really do anything. Ultima, Mecha Godzilla, and Mothra 2019. I believe in the ranking system, Ghidorah ranks 8th for range, but the only things that are higher range in it are Super X, Zeton, Mark-Light, Super Mecha Godzilla, and Ultima. So, crazy high range on him. His damage is really good. His on-spawn stun and burn is alright. I mean, the stun is what you're using it for. The burn is whatever. The burn is terrible. Long range, phenomenal. Piercing is phenomenal. The stats on him are phenomenal. He's been in the game since year 1. He came in like the 4th or 5th month of the game. With the first All-Star Battle, we got Desghidorah. So if you've been investing in him for years, this season was a massive, massive payout for you. He's probably like either the best unit in the game or tied or right under the chibis, because he can piece up. Actually, I'm putting him above. He can piece up the chibis from before they can even hit him. And if yours is strong enough, he might just nuke one of them before, you know, he might just nuke the Mecha Godzilla. And without that stun, you're not stopping this Desghidorah. He's really good now. I mean, he's been pretty decent. He's always been kind of like in the A range. Now he is in definitely S+. He a phenomenal, I mean, a phenomenal unit. I don't have enough good things to say about Desghidorah. Gamera got to increase his HP and his increase to his attack. He was somewhere in the lower B tier. I'm going to put him in the higher B tier. I don't really think he's all that good. I mean, if he's not in the higher B tier, he's at least like right here in the low A. I'll put him in the low A. He's not really making any super impactful plays. I mean, this season you have the other Gamera that is flying that gets countered by him. Desghidorah is here in the meta. The 2 King Ghidorahs are around, so Gamera is getting a lot of action this season, but he's not really that impactful in the ground game. He's only going to really show up against flyers. If he's fighting a ground unit, it's basically over. But if your opponent, for whatever reason, uses a bunch of flyers, he's going to see, you know, you're gonna have great success with him. His stats are pretty good regardless. For the cost he is, it's all right. But he's not AoE. He's single target. He doesn't do as much against the ground characters. He's really a dedicated flying counter. And if your opponent is only running like 1 flyer, he's probably not seeing a lot of mileage in your deck. I'm putting him into like the lower, like the mid-low A. I think that he is good. I think he maybe could be better. I don't know what you could do to make him better, aside from maybe lower his cost. You could increase his stats again, I guess, but he's all right. I have nothing against Gamera. I think he's a pretty good flying counter, but that's pretty much, he's like a one-trick pony. Next is the King Ghidorah brothers. King Ghidorah 91 and Mecha King Ghidorah. So King Ghidorah 91 got, what was it given? It got lowered its cost and increased the attack. So it went from what, a 7 or an 8 or 7 to a 6, and then it got an increased attack. I'm going to put this King Ghidorah near the top of B, because it's a dedicated evolution, pretty good AoE, 6 cost, better stats. I think it is somewhere in this high B area for sure. Mecha King Ghidorah, I think, is solidly moved into like not the top of A, maybe an S. It added stun resistance to him. He got an HP increase. He got an attack increase. I would say maybe Desghidorah or Mecha King Ghidorah is like somewhere here in like the A tier. I think he is extremely solid. I know a lot of people are not like super fond of him. I like him a lot. I think the stun immune is phenomenal. I think that his AoE is pretty good. Actually, you know what? Instead of putting him in the S, I think I might do like this. Watch. I'll just rearrange this tier real quick. I think this is probably something better in the A tier. I mean, I really don't know where I want to put him. I either want to put him in the S or in the A. I think the new Mecha King Ghidorah is really good. Mine is almost level 30. Mine is like 3 or 4 pieces away from being level 30, and he mops up the chibis because he's now stun immune. He has high damage, so he's cleaning up all the swarms, all the like ground units. I mean, for 7 cost, you might want something like Desghidorah or the Godzilla Evolved. But I really like him. I've really been enjoying using King Ghidorah. He has a card in the game that increases his attack or health or something like that, so that's going to be really good as well. I like him a lot. I definitely think he's super strong, and this was much needed buffs for sure. King Ghidorah and Mecha King Ghidorah have gone through absolute trials and tribulations trying to find their place in the meta. They've either been the worst characters or the best characters, so they've worked their way up, and I think that they are in a much better state now than they are before. We could argue back and forth for either he's bottom of S or top of A. I'm just going to leave him in the bottom of S for now. we could debate that later, but he's somewhere in either the top of A or the very bottom of S. He's really good. He's cleaned up the chibis. Stun resistance goes a long way in this game. There's a lot of really good stun units, and the chibis being one of the best units in the game, and having stun resistance and AoE to hit both the chibis, that goes a long way. So, now we are on to the two new characters, Gamera Flying Form and Guiron. We're going to do Guiron first, even though it's not alphabetical. I'm saving Gamera for last. I'm going to read Guiron's kit for you in the game. So he's energy cost 3. His range is... His search range is 67. His reach is 67. His movement speed is 13. He targets leader, ground, aerial, and facilities. His attack speed is 1.9 seconds. Let's go to his abilities. When attacking, it performs a ranged linear jump slice on enemy units with 80% or higher HP, removing any buffs on the enemy units. Only buffs that enhance a unit's stats for a limited period or a certain number of times will be removed. It also cannot remove buffs applied by a leader's special move. A support unit that removes buffs from enemy units, it puts a stop to buffs that increase the enemy's attack power or reduce damage taken, but this ability can only be activated when the enemy has high HP. Its ranged linear attack also makes it capable of dealing with a group of units. Cool. I like Guiron. I think he's really good. We're going to put him in the S tier this season. He's probably somewhere like right up here in the S. Maybe he's lower, but I think, like I said earlier in the video, you can really place the S and S plus tiers wherever you want in this grouping. Guiron being able to remove buffs is huge. That's pretty much the main reason you're going to want to run him. He has a kind of run-of-the-mill attack and health. His attack is particularly low unless he's doing that ranged attack, that big slice. He can hit, I believe he can hit multiple Gauss. I don't remember if he can hit multiple units like in a swarm at the same time. I think he can. I think it's in his video he hits a bunch of Kamakuras at the same time. It is. So yeah, he can hit up a bunch of Gauss. He can hit up a bunch of the Kamakuras, so that's cool. He can just dismantle swarms in one shot. He is going to be able to remove Mogera's defense boost that he gives characters. He's going to be able to remove the attack boost that Scar King gives. He can remove... I think he can remove stuff from the chibis if they had the buffs and were high enough health, but he only does the buff removal attack when he's attacking a character that is 80% health or higher. He will remove... I'm pretty sure he removes -1's regen. I think he'll remove Terrestris's regen as well. Any buff given to a character, he'll remove the Batra attack boost, the crystals from Space Godzilla. Any attack or any buff that is given to a unit, the stun resistance from Mothra 2019, if another unit gives it another unit a boost, Guiron can get rid of it. But if, you know, your leader, Godzilla 89, is going to give everyone an attack boost, Guiron can't get rid of that. He can't get rid of anything that the leaders give, but as long as an enemy has a buff that was given to him by another unit and it's at 80% health, Guiron will hit this big swing, he'll do an AoE with it, and he'll remove any buffs of any characters that got hit. I like him a lot. He's rentable this season, so that's going to maybe inflate his ranking, but he's 3 energy. For all of that, he is really good. I like him a lot. I super enjoy using Guiron. As soon as the season came out, I was like, you know what? I think Guiron's actually kind of good. I'm glad to see that a lot of other people think this as well. He's kind of been petering off in like the middle of the month, but for whatever reason, near the end of the month, he's come back in a fashion. Probably, you know, 99 Orga and Owen Berg on their tier list, which you should also watch if you want more opinions. Glazed him for sure, and I'm gonna glaze him as well. I think Guiron is really good this season. Next season we'll have to see where he falls, but I think he may be a little inflated in the S tier because of the rentability. But I like him a lot. Super versatile, great utility. If you're a new player and you have a bunch of Guiron pieces because they gave a bunch of them away for free, feel free to use him. He's phenomenal. Next is Gamera Flying Form. We're going to talk about him. 6 cost, okay, AoE, and damage immunity. So let's take a look. 6 cost, stats, attack speed is 3.2 seconds, search range is 80, so pretty far search range. He can go pretty much all around the map looking and targeting characters, but his reach is only 45. It is a deceptive 45, though I feel like when he's doing his AoE, he's hitting a lot more than he should be. He can target leader, ground, aerial facilities. His movement speed is 15. He has stun resist, and he can... It says damage taken during attack is 70%. He gets a 30% damage reduction when he attacks. So it says, like, neutralizes 70% of damage or whatever. It's 30% damage reduction. So, ability, on deployment, permanently immune to stun when attacking. Decreases damage taken by self by 30% while attacking. Okay? When its HP falls to 50% or below, its attack range is expanded. That's the deceptive one. A lot of people forget about that. And it becomes able to deal 5 successive attacks with 30% of its attack power. I believe regularly it's dealing 3 hits, and then it gets the extended range and 5 extra hits. A defensive aerial unit boasting a high HP that takes less damage when attacking. It can intercept enemy units and its range attack while taking heavy fire with its range attack while taking heavy fire on the front line. Note, however, that this unit has difficulty stalling ground units that cannot attack aerial units. So, can't stall ground units, but is going to rip them apart. Absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal character this season. The Gamera is probably either better than the Chibis because he's stun immune or right under the Chibis this season. I think that that's probably like the way it's got to be. He is so... Alino, let me make this a little bit... Oh, no, that's too big. I wanted you to be able to see everyone. He is just so good. The Gamera flying form is phenomenal. I've said it so many times on this video that, like, X character is phenomenal, but increasing your range when you're below 50% health is really good because range is king in this game. Getting an extra two or three attacks, whatever it is amazing when you're hitting. Damage reduction when you attack is amazing. Stun immune, so Chibis are just completely falling apart because he's also a AoE, so he's taking down Gauss, which you're seeing a lot of play. He's taking down the Chibis. He's getting that damage reduction when he goes up against Desgador. He's able to close that gap. Kong with the glove can't even hit this Gamera. Gamera just runs right through him. Gamera's going to run through Mogera. Actually, Mogera gives him a little bit of a fight because of the defense boost, but if you have Guiron, you can just take that away. A lot of people pair Dimension Tide. You throw all your guys in, or throw all the enemies into a big ring, and then Gamera comes in and knocks them all down. It's peak. It's simply peak. Gamera flying form is power creep. I mean, it is. I would be shocked if Gamera flying form was not added specifically to counter the Chibis, and I believe he does it successfully. If you're not playing in the season that he released and you didn't get a bunch of free pieces for him, I think you're going to have a bad time going forward. He is, I think, a unit that's going to last a long time. His stats are relatively solid. Mine is level 23 rented, and his HP is 4,316. His range damage is 925, and his range damage says range damage 2 is 278. Like, he is going to be cracked. There are 4 Gamera cards in the game as well that you can use to boost his stats, and he becomes an absolute menace. He is a grade A tank. He is doing his work on the battlefield. He can search out enemy units from like a quarter mile away because his search range is 80. Okay, I think the map width is like 110 or something like that. So he's clearing most of the map. You put him dead in the center and those 2 rows in the middle, he's going to go in either direction and totally just chase down whoever he wants. Gamera flying form is phenomenal. An amazing counter to the Chibis. The Chibis are either right below him now or right ahead of him, and the only reason they would be ahead of him is because they're cheaper and they're really versatile and they don't have a whole lot of counters. But the top 3 units are the Chibis and 2 counters for Chibis. I like Gamera flying form a lot. I got a ton of pieces for him this season. He's going to be a unit that lasts forever, right? He gets the damage reduction by 30%. He gets the bonus attacks. He's flying. He's got a great search range. He has just great stats. I mean, I think I said great stats already, but it's true. Gamera flying form is phenomenal. Definitely a highlight of the season. I mean, it's his season, so why wouldn't he be? He is definitely for sure a nice addition to the roster. So, that is what I have for you guys today. This is the tier list for season, what is it, 38 or 39? And then we'll do the next ones. Hopefully we do next seasons earlier. This has just been an incredibly busy month. But I hope you all enjoyed the tier list. I'll post an image of this in the Discord. I usually forget. This time I'll try to remember. Thank you all for watching, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.